Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Summer Fun Series of the Better Satellite World, a podcast of Space and Satellite Professionals International. I'm Lou Zaccarella. So, this is our third interruption of the private lives of Industry Hall of Fame members and important space and satellite industry professionals and celebrities, where we kind of find out what they're up to and having fun at this summer. So, we've spoken so far with a woman who just received an MBE from Queen Elizabeth, and last week a Hall of Fame member who is responsible for the success of GPS. Today we're going to go to Houston, Texas, the ancestral home of space and NASA, to speak with Dr. David Alexander, who is president of another important space institution in America's fastest growing city, and that is the Rice University Space Institute. The institute was formed 21 years ago. In 2011, the University School of Natural Sciences began a program to strengthen Rice's involvement in space-related research and pursue a more formal partnership with the NASA Johnson Space Center under the auspices of the Institute. This led to the appointment of Rice solar physicist Professor David Alexander as the director in 2012, where he has remained and is undergoing a very, very successful tenure. Dr. Alexander is also chair of the Aerospace and Aviation Committee at the Greater Houston Partnership. And in 2018, Dr. Alexander was awarded the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire for his services to the UK and US links in the space industry and higher education. The Better Satellite World podcasts are supported by our corporate patron members, EchoStar Hughes, Northrop Grumman, Access Intelligence, and the law firm of K&L Gates. The SSPI podcasts are also supported by the 3,000 members of Space and Satellite Professionals International and our chapters around the globe. Thank you. Well, hello, David. How are things in Houston today? I noticed we're both unshaven, so that's right in the spirit of summer fun here.
Yeah, no, we're doing well, Lou. It's good to see you.
Likewise.
We had a nice little cool front come through, so it's still hot in Houston, but for this time of year, it's really pleasant actually, although it's about to change. So anytime you get nice weather in the summer in Houston, it's a cause to celebrate.
It's a benefit. Now you're from Scotland originally, am I correct?
Yeah, I'm from Glasgow in Scotland. I've been in the United States for 28 years now, so I've been here quite a long time.
Yeah, Glasgow, though, and we've talked about this offline, has become sort of a hub for space too, which is, I think surprising to many, but not to those of us in the industry. What actually happened there?
Well, I think actually one of the leaders was a man called Craig Clark from Small Satellites, and he moved up. I remember him saying that, we used to build on the River Clyde, which is a river that goes through Glasgow. Right. They built more ships than anywhere like in the world, and so there was a ridiculous number of ships coming out of there every day. And so his little tagline, at least when I met him, was that they used to build ships on the River Clyde. Now I want to build spaceships. And right. So he took that knowledge of small sats and went down to the CubeSat kind of level. And they've become, I think, one of the premier companies in the world at producing very high quality CubeSats. And then they were joined a few years ago by Spire, which is a company out of San Francisco.
Right.
And most of their work is on the data side of things. And they were working with Clyde Space, probably in my history a little bit wrong here, but they were working with Clyde Space to develop their CubeSats to collect that data. And Clyde Space, I think, there was just a lot of business going on. And so the things got delayed a little bit. So Spire decided to move in and have their manufacturing hub based in Glasgow. So combined with that and a few other small companies, Alba Orbital and so on, I think outside of California, Glasgow produced more satellites than any other city in the world. So that's kind of led to this big growth in the space industry in Scotland, including the focus on spaceports and in particular satellite applications.
Yeah, an incredible ecosystem has formed there. And is there something in the in Scotland's individual character? Because I know they work awfully hard. Robert Bell, our executive director, is of Scottish heritage, and the guy's always working. It's Because I'm here to ask you about what you do for
Yeah,
fun,
I know.
but
Of course, I'm going to be really biased. Of course, I'm going to say, of course, we're all really hard workers. And we're all brilliant.
That's a softball.
But yeah. No, I mean, I think there's always been. I mean, if you go back to the Industrial Revolution, Scotland's played an outsized part in the development of the kind of modern world, if you like, just because I think part of it, and something that benefited me, was the educational system. And so the free education and the ability for people from all walks of life to get that high level education, I think, has been something that we've been proud of for, actually a few hundred years now. And I think that all kind of factors in. I think having a devolved government where there's some local decisions can be made, it's a bit like a state government in a sense. That helps target some real thought into kind of key areas that they want to focus on. They're pushing to be one of the first net zero countries, net zero economies in the world. COP26 is going to be held in Glasgow later this year, so the big climate conference. So with all of that, and again, I don't want to, the university system in Scotland is really quite impressive. It's a good mix of quite a range of skill sets there, and across what is essentially a small country. There's only 5.25 million people.
Right.
There's less people in Scotland than there is in the region I'm living in right now, just the city and Greater Houston region here. So that's it's always good. And it's been exciting. I'm a global Scot, which is one of the ways that the Scottish government is reaching out across the world, identifying folks that can maybe help Scottish industry get connected in the cities that they're in or the countries that they're in. So they've been very, very proactive, and I think that's led to some of this success, at least in the space industry.
That's interesting. Global Scot, is that a formal organization, or do they just reach out to people who have the kind of influence you have?
I've got a letter from the First Minister of Scotland, appointing me. I think it's a strategic. It's been around, I think they're celebrating 20 years this year, actually.
Wow.
And not all global Scots are Scottish, right? I mean, it's just people who have connections and are interested in what's happening, and it's really just to help have some of these companies who are thinking of becoming international get a soft landing wherever they're going. They know who to talk to, they can make connections, they network very quickly. They ask advice of the Global Scot Network. I mean, and for instance, if I was going to South Africa or somewhere, I can contact a Global Scot there and say, hey,
right.
What can I do here? And so I think it's really a smart thing I was very honored to be asked, actually, to a few years ago. I was a bit surprised, but I think that it does help give a more global. Scotland's been quite insular for many years, and this helps give it a more kind of outward-looking international flavour. Despite Brexit, which was kind of foisted upon them, but so I mean, it's great to see what's going on over there, and the excitement and the enthusiasm that all these activities are engendering.
Yeah. So I could be a Global Scot too. You said you don't have to be.
Yeah, you could. You just need somebody who likes you to nominate you. So.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be the problem, I think. So, David, I could go down a list of things that you do like that, boards that you belong to. I mean, the Greater Houston Partnership, which is, a really, really, high-powered organization now for, as I said earlier, the fastest growing city in our country here, the United States. But what do you do this summer? What do you do to relax and chill?
Well, I don't know if relax is the right word, because I was watching the Euro 2020 soccer or football championship. So that's been my and that's 50-something games, and I think I watched most of them. So
wow.
There's two things I really, apart from my family, there's two things that I really I'm very enthusiastic about, and that's space and football.
Space and football.
And, so having a big international tournament, the European tournament, was just a kind of a boon for me. So sitting watching the games, and my kids are sort of distributed around the country at various things this summer. So when they can get to watch it, so sitting talking to them through the game, trying to make sure they don't tell me the results if I'm looking at a recording.
Right.
Scotland was in it for the first time. Scotland had a team in a major tournament for the first time since 1998. we used to be in them all the time, and so it was a big thing for us. But we did our usual, and we get knocked out of the group stage. So then it was a case of just watching the football for the football's sake, and it was a very interesting final. Just happened on Sunday.
Yes. Yeah. Well, see, in my part of the world,
you're from.
Yeah, we're very happy. We're very happy because we're all from Italian ancestry. You know, we're back where we belong. That's kind of how we look at it.
Well, Italy were absolutely fantastic in this competition.
They were.
They really were. I mean, the Italy of old was a very, very strong team. This Italy today is a very strong team defensively, but they've got some really, really exciting attacking play. So it's actually been great to watch. So Denmark was a great revelation this year. England have always had very, very strong individual players and have kind of faltered occasionally at these big tournaments. And they had a really good tournament, and they came close, as you know. So it was a great tournament to watch. I mean, some of the big teams get kicked out early, and that always makes it kind of more interesting. So anyway, so football.
Yeah. Okay, so it's all about football. Now, you obviously also think about the fall, the institute's activities. Do you do that formally in the summer? Do you go out and kick a ball around, or do you go swimming or ride a horse and then start to plot what's going to happen?
No, well, I mean, obviously, we're obviously, you know what it's like in the summer. We're working on research, working on the next proposals, planning for the fall, the teaching, and so on. This year's a little bit different because normally I'd be traveling. I'd probably spend a lot of time in Europe and be traveling around, and that's kind of. We might be able to work something out in the next month or so, but that's just obviously travel isn't completely wide open. We are, as far as the UK is concerned, we're still an amber country, which means a 10-day isolation, and that's a lot of time to waste if you like for a trip. So we're sort of holding off a little bit and hoping that. So that's a little bit different this summer. My house is getting old and I have to fix things in it, so that's where I get my. My kind of my little bit of exercise is fixing things and then having my wife call the professionals.
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's like mine too. Yeah. Is there anything going on at the Institute that would be new that you want to promote or we should be thinking about?
Well, one of the things, actually, one of the things that I'm quite excited about. We've got a bunch of different things going on, but one of the things, well, first of all, our student group will be hosting Space Vision for any SEDS folks out there. This is the Society for the Students for the Exploration and Development of Space organization.
Sure, yeah, we're involved with it, of course.
Yeah. And the Rice chapter is hosting Space Vision later this year down at Space Center Houston, which should be kind of fun. Mm-hmm. And we're doing a bunch of different things, but one of the things that I'm kind of excited we're in the middle of right now is creating an educational kind of consortium around the Houston Spaceport. So we're looking at a number of us from some of the different institutions, the tier 1 research institutions like Rice and Texas A&M and so on, to the community college side and looking at that, everything from the research, education and workforce development around the spaceport activities. And so putting that together has been a long time coming, but now there's a focus group of us trying to, get the right balance between these different organizations, the different things that they have to offer on the educational front, and then how we merge them together, because it's quite a step from an 8-week welding course for a high school student for aerospace all the way up to advanced materials with PhD research at a university like Rice. So that's been quite an exciting challenge actually, and some really good people. So that will be coming out. Well, we're working on our strategic plan, and the implementation side of that. So and the good thing is that the spaceport, which is the city of Houston, are supporting this effort. They're behind it. They're the instigators of it. So, and industry will be a big part of it as well. So I'm really excited about that.
That is very exciting. Yeah, it's amazing how quickly they've taken off and the impact they're going to have on economic development. I think it's
we've been lucky at the spaceport here.
Yeah, yeah, but they're taking. I mean, they're everywhere. They're in Cornwall now. I mean, you're going to start seeing them all over the world. So, well, listen, David, it's football, family, and spaceports. I think that's a good combination for the summer. I'm glad everything's going well, and thanks so much for being a part of this.
Well, it's always good to talk to you, Lou, and everything that you're doing at SSPI and elsewhere. I think it's always good to see what's going on. And yeah, I mean, space is where it's at, right? I mean, that's what we should be doing.
Big time.
And congratulations on the big Italian win. You know, it's always a good thing.
Well, I had nothing to do with it, but I'll take it. Yeah.
Well, you know, and I shouldn't do this because I've got a lot of friends around the world, but you know, we do say in Scotland that I support two teams, Scotland and whoever's playing England, but it's a little bit of a shame.
Of course. Well, that's it. Nobody would be surprised, by the way, to hear that.
I've alienated a bunch of your listeners there. But,
yeah, well, that's right. They'll blame me. So, and that concludes my visit with Dr. David Alexander. Many thanks to him, and many thanks to our corporate partners for their financial support for this series. Join me next time when we go to Europe to interrupt somebody else's holidays, and we'll tell you who that is when we get there. You can learn more about supporting this and other Better Satellite World series at sspi.org. You can also learn how to become a member of SSPI and enjoy the many benefits of belonging to the world's oldest and largest association of space and satellite industry professionals and advocates like Dr. Alexander for a better satellite world. So follow us on Twitter at SSPI and check us out on LinkedIn and Facebook. And don't forget to send in your nomination for our Better Satellite World Awards and dinner. The deadline for nominations is September 14th. And we will be virtual this year, possibly in London in January for a celebration. But we'll let you know about that. For Space and Satellite Professionals International and our producer, Ana Gomez, I'm Lou Zaccarella. Let's make it a better satellite world. Take care, everybody. Have a good summer.